In this tutorial, we're going to look at how we can work with images. So let's get underway. So the first thing we want to do is just change the background. And what I'm going to do is introduce a ZStack. Now a ZStack allows you to go vertical, or give it depth. So think of a HStack and VStacks. VStack's vertical, HStack's horizontal, but a ZStack is behind, because what I want to do is put in a black background. So I'm going to start by creating a ZStack, and that ZStack's going to have some properties. So we'll go down here, and what I want to do in the ZStack, I want to give it a color, and that's going to be black. And you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment, because what I want to do is put an image on there, and as we adjust the images, we want to be able to see the changes occurring. And the other thing I'm going to do is give it a modifier, and we're going to have a look at edge ignore, and we're going to ignore all of the safe areas. So it's just going to make the whole background black. And then we're going to have VStack. At the moment, we're going to be working with images. Currently there is an image out here. You can see the little globe and it's blue. That image is coming from the system icons. And what we want to do is we want to introduce our own graphic. You can actually see there's some scalable stuff and also some text. So I'm going to just remove these two elements out of the VStack so it's completely blank, and I'll be working in here. So the first thing you want to do is bring your image in and place it in assets. So if you go to your top left hand side, click on assets, and as you can see there are no icons or images in here at the moment. Then you can bring your image in and drop it in. Now this image could be downloaded from the internet, it could be something you created or generated, you could have been a photo that you've taken. My suggestion to you is make sure that the file names are easy to reference, because this way in your code it'll be easier to code and not make mistakes. So I've got LM and pic, so this is a cartoon character of myself. Once you've done that, you can click on content view and head back there. So what we want to do now is actually put that image on screen. So to do that, we need to reference the object image. So this is the element that will be placed on screen, and then all we have to do is use the name. So LM underscore pic. Now notice there's no spaces in my file name, etc. Now when you place the object in there, it'll actually exceed the frame and the borders if it's larger than what the area you want. So we need to be able to control that. So what we need to be able to do is make this image resizable. So the first thing we want to do is make it resizable. Okay, there we go. So it's actually made it resizable, and it's the image, but it's very tall at the moment. So what we want to be able to do then is look at making it scale to fit. If I press the tab key, it'll write that for me, and now it's back to its square font. You notice the background is transparent, so that is useful, but you can see that it's now scaled to fit. We can also make it fill the area if you want, so rather than scale to fit, we can make it scale to fill. And you notice that the fill's there now, and it's filled the space. Now, there is one modifier here that says fit, and then it's got fill. So what actually happens is it applies this modifier, and then it applies this modifier, which overrides the previous modifier. So you need to work out which one you want to use. If I use two forward commands, it'll actually rem or turn the other modifier into a comment. Now we might actually put a frame around the element. So this is the frame now. You notice it was already sort of suggesting it for me, so I'll press tab. So frame the width and the height. So you can actually control the width and the height. Now this could be a little bit different for the two objects. So you can see now that I've turned off fit and fill, and it's keeping those aspect ratios. I can mess with the aspect ratios and make them taller and shorter. So you can see that you can actually control the elements as they go. So I'll leave those two turned off at the moment. Another one we could add, another modifier, is border. So we can add a border with a color blue and a width of 5, or I could turn it to white. You can pick whatever color you'd like, but you can see that the frame now actually has a border that's easy to see. You can play with the different widths if you want. Go to 15, it'll be a lot stronger, or you can leave it as 5. We can make it a little nicer to look at rather than being so square. We could round the corners. So we can add the corner radius. We can increase the corner radius to like 50. Or if we want to, we can actually change the whole layout and turn it into a circle so it's like a profile picture. To do that, we're going to change the clip shape. And we're going to tell it to be a circle. And I'm going to turn the corner radius off at this stage. And also I'm going to remove the border so we don't get those little markers. Let's go change our background color to white. And let's add a shadow. And make that 15. Now you can see a shadow has occurred around the transparent sort of object, and it makes it stand out quite nice. Let's turn our corner radius back on and remove our clip shape, and then we're going to add some more properties to the shadow. We can actually set the color, we can set the radius, we can also set the X and Y offset. And I'll turn off the previous shadow. We can also overlay some text. Now you can see it's occurred where my face is, but we can also add some modifiers to this text. And now you can see that I've got a headline, that's the font. We've got a foreground color of white, we've got a padding, we've got a background color of black, an opacity of 70%, and it has a shape of a capsule. We can also turn it back into a circle again if we wanted to. Now you have to remember with things like opacity that they have to go from 0 through to 1. So it'll be 0.1, 0.2, etc. You can have more decimal points as you want, but it's like a percentage. So it's between 0 and the number 1. And the good thing about opacity, it creates a subtle background or fade effect. We can also add gestures. So if we wanted to, we could actually add an on-tap gesture. And the code we're going to get is just print image tapped. So the gesture can actually run functions later. Now as you tap on the image, you'll notice if you click in the bottom right hand corner, you can bring up the output. You can clear the console, and then as you click, it comes up image tapped, and you can see that now it has interactivity. So all I can suggest you do is have a look at the different ways you can present images, work with the different modifiers, experiment to come up with the modifiers that achieve your desired goal and design. Hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my channel. Also have a look around my YouTube channel for other useful coding tips.